Right now, Georgia is dealing with spiking coronavirus cases and the medical and economic struggles they bring with them. But there are some hopeful signs. The latest job numbers show slow but steady improvements in unemployment. First-time applications fell again last week, down to 1.3 million, according to the Department of Labor. That's still a historic high. The 15th consecutive week initial claims have been over 1 million. The number of Americans claiming unemployment benefits for 2 weeks or more also fell to 18.1 million as well. That means employers have slowed layoffs, but it's still a long way from back to normal. And here in Georgia, the number of initial unemployment claims filed last week dropped again by almost 14,000. There were 103,590 claims filed across the state. And the previous week, according to the National Labor Department, that number fell by more than 8,000. The state crediting fewer layoffs in several industries like waste management, transportation, and educational services.